Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to Season 10, Episode 17 of Tap to Craft Podcast. I am Denny Lewis coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Chris McKenzie. How are you tonight, Chris? And of course, tell me what's in your glass.
Denny, I am doing just great today. And in my glass, where'd my can go? In my glass, well, I should say in my Florida Pint Day glass. Hang on a
Ah.
second. I can't see what I'm doing. I got windows everywhere.
Oh, come on. We're trying to put a
Consummate
show on here,
professional.
Chris.
In my Florida Pint Day glass goes
Oh,
a
nice.
nice tall can of Reef Donkey
Beef donkey.
from Tampa Bay Brewing Company, which has been a favorite um, over the last couple of weeks too, because most of the stores I can get this from, it's always fresh. It's good.
Nice.
I don't like those IPAs that sit on the shelf for a year and a half. So, um, well, Denny, would you want to tell us what's in your glass today before we jump
No,
into our
no.
guest?
I
Come on, I want to know
I
what's in your
want
glass.
no. I want you to introduce our guest because we're really excited to have her on the show. So
We
go
are.
ahead.
Well, guys, we have our guest today, not only our guest, but also our awesome sponsor from tintackers.com. We have Jen Cooker. Did I pronounce it right?
Coker, close
Coker.
enough.
Okay. At least I didn't call it Kutcher. Um, but Jen is on with us today, joining us for the show because we're going to talk about not only her craft beer journey, but we're going to talk about all things tintackers.com. So,
Mhm.
Jen, welcome to the show.
My favorite topic.
Right?
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. You know, I realized today that I've been talking to you guys for an entire year.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, this week will be a year. So
Yep.
it's finally nice to get to visit with y'all and meet your guests. So
Thank you. Well, I'm glad you were able to make it on with us. But, since Denny didn't want to tell me what was in his glass, what's in your glass this evening?
I would love to share with what's in my glass. So I'm drinking something from Tarantula Hill Brewery out of Thousand Oaks, California. And it is called Liquid Candy Hazy IPA. Liquid Candy. So it is quite delicious. Oh, sorry. I got it right in front of me.
It was
So
Did you say Tarantula Hill?
Tarantula Hill Brewing Company.
Great name.
Okay. Have you done a attacker for them?
I have not. I have not. No, I have not.
Okay. Well, maybe it's a possibility because I like the name. I'm
know.
curious about what's behind Tarantula Hill. It must be where, like, I don't. Back in the 70s, there was a movie called Tarantula that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid because all I thought about was all these tarantulas coming out of these mounds in the desert of California. I wonder if that's Tarantula Hill.
I don't know enough about it to say, but I do love. I'm in Arizona, and we get tarantulas in our yard, and I just pick them up. They're the cutest things. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not scared of no tarantula.
That's what people say around here about alligators. They're just adorable.
Just adorable. Just adorable. All right.
No, go ahead.
Chris.
I was gonna say, do you have any like cute, clever names for tarantulas other than tarantulas?
No.
I mean, we call gators swamp puppies.
I'll have to think about that
Well,
one.
if you come up with one, let us know.
All right. Well, welcome, Jen. Now I'll go ahead and let Chris and you know what I'm drinking. I'm drinking some local beers here in the Boise area. This is a leftover from Oktoberfest time. It's from Sockeye Brewing. It's hard to see that, but it's Oktoberfest. It's an Oktoberfest lager, and I had a few of these in my fridge. And I thought, it's a great time to drink a nice wintry lager because it's a little bit heavier and hopefully it'll help warm my bones up because guess what? You notice I'm wearing flannel because it's snowing again. All of a sudden it was like 70 degrees and now it's snowing again and we're gonna have a storm. We're in a winter advisory all night long because the snow's gonna be falling and my trip into work today was very challenging because I didn't realize that it was as slick as it was. But I made it safely, but I came home a little bit early just so I wouldn't have to fight the traffic back home. So
when you live in a place like Arizona or Florida, you tend to forget that it's winter everywhere else.
Yes.
He texted me that he was leaving work early because of the winter weather, and I'm standing out in this big field playing with my dog in shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm like, I don't miss it.
Yeah, winter for Chris is he puts on a sweatshirt.
Hey, I got long sleeves on today, Denny. It's
yeah, that's true. It is winter.
it's a sun shirt, but it's long sleeves.
Oh, good. All right. Well, let's get this show started. But before we get too far into the show, we always want to let anyone new listening to Tap to Craft podcast know what we're all about. We are an educational podcast focused around celebrating all things craft beer because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you're listening to episode 251, recording on Monday, March 4th, 2024. And we're live on Facebook. And if you'd like to join us during our recording session sometime, you can do that on the Monday prior to release. We release on a Thursday. So just keep an eye on that every other week that we release to join us on Monday at 8:30 Eastern time. And this episode is all focused around Jen and her craft beer journey, as well as tintackers.com. We want to learn all about her business, how she got started, and how you make tin tackers. What's in the process? I know Chris is interested in it. I'm really interested in it. I love seeing your tin tackers and seeing the quality and just the creativity that goes into it, and just a really good product. And when you guys send these things out, it comes really well packaged and to protect the investment of your tacker. So I want to hear all about that process.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a cooler job than me? I mean, really getting to deal with craft brewery art, the can art, the logo art. It's really fun.
That is a pretty good one.
Yeah. And that's
Have you had a favorite so far?
Well, I feel like every time we get the new one from you, we go, oh, this one's so much better. Like the double drop from Engine 15, the last one we opened up.
Yeah, the latest.
That was, we opened it up and we both looked at it and we're like, oh wow, this is just like a classic vintage design and it's a really cool idea. But prior to that, I had a little bit of a nerd fit with the Keymaster from Swing Barrel. And I was like, oh my God.
What, the month before, I think.
Correct.
Yes, the last it's always the last one, right? That you like the best because it's the new fresh one.
Yeah.
But that's what's so fun about that club is that every month it's so different than the one before. And it's really fun to write those little inserts that come with it. Because I get totally into it. So, yeah, it's really fun.
So there's too many favorites. I love the Liquid Gravity, the Miami Vice.
Miami Heist.
Heist. I love the one you did during, I think it was December or November, with the Bigfoot with the trucker hat and.
Oh yeah. The
flannel shirt, it's on my
trucker hat.
Yeah.
Racket River. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So, they're all good, and like Chris and I always go crazy. We open it and we're like, oh my gosh, this is very creative, and I love the fact like that Liquid Gravity one is also unique because it's not just they're all embossed and they're all cut out, but this one has like dripping.
Oh, I have to show
out of it.
Yeah,
there you go, right there. Yeah,
it's so cool. We had so many. It was really fun working with Liquid Gravity on that one because there were so many iterations of that, of how, from how it started to how it ended. It's just totally different. I mean, it started out as a square design and it ended up, oozing beer out the bottom of. I mean, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then not only that, like I know Denny has this at work, but I play with this pretty much every other day.
The spinners.
The little spinner.
Oh,
I mean,
fun.
These are great.
Yeah, I'm on a meeting and I just sit at my desk and I'll spin it, and just see how long it'll last spinning on my desk while I sit there and listen to people chat away. I am paying attention too. I'm not totally, that's why I kind of started spinning and then I focus back and then I glanced over and see how it goes. But yeah, that's a unique. It's two purpose too, right? It could be a toy, but it also could cover your beer and keep your the bugs out.
Oh,
so I mean,
I hadn't thought of that one. I love that.
Not on that glass.
No.
I've always thought of it as it serves no purpose whatsoever. It's just for fun. But I like your idea better. It serves two purposes. Well, I would love to share how my my tacker journey began because my husband and I started wanting to collect them like over a decade ago. And at that time, it was so hard to find them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you pretty much had to go to a brewery and cross your fingers that they'd even heard of tin tackers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was definitely a big labor of love to try to collect them.
Yeah.
And so we had a basement that we would put whatever tackers we could get our hands on. And really the easiest place to find them at the time was once in a while happening upon them at a garage sale or eBay, because there was just not that many out there, and they're very, very hard to find. And so at that time, I ran an event company, and my event company did we did wine festivals, we did beer festivals. And one day I had the idea to sell beer signs at the beer festival. I thought that would be kind of fun. And so I started looking into where could I buy them? Like if I wanted to sell them, where could I even buy them? And let's just say it started me down a rabbit hole, looking at different breweries' websites, and if they even had a website at the time. A lot of them didn't. And if they did have a website, it would be very unlikely that they had a merchandise page, if you can imagine. So it just set me down this journey to try to find how I could even get my hands on tin tackers. So before I came along, had you ever heard that term, tackers?
Yeah.
Did you know that's what they were called? Okay.
Yeah,
we did.
I have a few before that. I mean, I had a few that were recent, but I had some that were older, and the only breweries that were doing it, 15 years ago, were the bigger breweries that had the money to invest in that, in whatever it took to get their design out there and made. And that, like New Belgium and Deschutes and some of the bigger ones, they had tackers you could buy at the brewery. So I go to Deschutes and I'd buy a tacker and such. But getting them from other like smaller breweries, it just wasn't easy. It wasn't heard of. It wasn't. I mean, I don't know when it opened up to them before you came. I mean, I know that there's some breweries like up on there's a Trek Brewing. I'm not sure where John Ream was co-host of the show with me before Chris joined, and he opened a commercial brewery. And one of the things that he started was offered tin tackers, but I'm not sure where he got his from. But again, when he got that, I was surprised because I wasn't used to seeing smaller breweries have them available.
It was the Sierra Nevadas and the bigger ones.
Okay.
So nice to see Chris with his giant display of tin tackers behind him. I love it.
Again, all credit to you, and I think Facebook is where I picked it up from.
Okay, well, that's a good intro into the backstory of tintackers.com. But we don't want to get too carried away because that's our brew bus segment. I don't want to take too much glory away from that. But hey, I love getting that little insight to get people a little hint of what to expect later on in the show. But right now, Chris and I would like to thank all of our Patreon supporters, because this episode is also brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Schlimmer, Kevin Amanda Argauer, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, and Jim Kutzel, and Alex Fuchs, who are our virtual producers, and Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Chalamasa, Mark Church, and Eric Gronley, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your hosts or buying us a virtual beer or even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/tapthecraft. Okay, Jen, we know you're drinking a beer. We know you enjoy beer. We know that tintackers.com got started because you love collecting beer signs. But let's talk about your craft beer journey, because that's what this show is all about, is helping people along in their craft beer journeys. We love to find out how our guests started their craft beer journey. So how did you discover craft beer?
Well, I was lucky enough to attend University in Colorado, in Fort Collins. So the hub of, at the time, it just seemed like the mecca of all things craft beer. But let me go back before my university experience, because I feel like whatever beer you started out with has to do with what, the year and the geographical location of where you were. So late 80s, Omaha, Nebraska, I drank Keystone Light. It just seems like every party was Keystone Light. So when I moved to Colorado in 1989, there was one beer bar near me that didn't card. that didn't card. And so we used to go there and drink Guinness. So for the first time in my life, I went from, boring Keystone Light to Guinness, and I thought my world had opened up. Well, then I started, so I'm going to jump into my first love of my first craft beer that I absolutely loved. And I don't remember the first time I had it, but it was in the early 90s, and it was Tommy Knocker Maple Nut Brown. And it knocked my socks off. I love that beer. I don't know how many of those I drank back in the early 90s, but I would have to say that Tommy Knocker Maple Nut Brown out of, I think, like Idaho Springs, Colorado. Is that a thing?
I think so.
Tommy Knocker Maple Nut Brown was my first love of craft beer.
Nice. That's a deep pull too. I've heard that. I've actually heard of Tommy Knockers, but I haven't heard of that Maple Brown. I'm a big, huge fan
of. It's still a thing.
Is it still?
It is still a thing.
Yeah.
It's on Untapped.
Okay.
Surprisingly enough, they're out of Idaho Springs, Colorado.
Okay. Hey.
Look at you.
Nice.
All right. Well, then that answered my question for you. Was what was
your?
Well, the question was, what was your gateway craft beer?
Oh, yeah, because Guinness doesn't count. It was Tommy Knocker Maple Nut Brown. I loved that beer.
Well, let's go back to the Guinness though, because that is an interesting start to Keystone Light to Guinness, because so many people, now I disagree with what most people think. They see a dark beer like Guinness and they think, oh, it's going to be super thick and heavy and hard to drink. But in reality, it's not a hard to drink beer. It's actually a pretty lighter beer that's easy to drink. What I mean, going into Guinness, were you scared the first time you had it, or did someone just set it down in front of you and you took a sip and said, wow, this isn't that bad? Or how did you actually, I mean, I know you were at the bar, but.
Exactly, Denny. They set it down in front of us and said, you're going to love it. If you liked Keystone Light, you're going to love this.
Yeah, because we're drinking underage.
I thought it was
I loved it.
Most sophisticated beer, like the most sophisticated drink I'd ever had. And we drank my freshman year, I was drinking a lot of Guinness. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, good. Yeah, I also enjoyed Guinness. And the main reason is when I travel a lot for work, and even back in the mid 90s to late 90s, there wasn't a lot of craft beer unless you went to the breweries where you visited. So I would go to some breweries, like I go to Texas, and I'd go to some of the local breweries there. But when I went to a restaurant or a bar, they didn't have a bunch of craft beer on tap. They had all the the typical industrial and domestic beers, and then they would most of them would have Guinness on tap, and I would always go for the Guinness because that was the one that had the most flavor.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, we're going on the next question here. So, what style of beer? Talk again, focusing on craft beer. Did you dislike it first, but have grown to enjoy over the years?
Oh, that's interesting. Because it's easy to say what style I dislike, and it's easy to say what style I like now. But what I didn't like at first, and now, okay, IPAs. I mean, at first I didn't like them, and it grew on. I mean, we're talking a long time ago, but still, I would have to say the only thing that fits that the answer to that question would be IPAs. I wasn't immediately drawn to the hoppiness of them. I do love myself an IPA now, but that would have to, yeah, I would say that's the closest answer to your question.
Okay. Do you love the IPAs now that are kind of stepped away from that West Coast bitter, piney, high citrus, or or do you like those now too? You like all kinds of IPAs, or do you like maybe the softer New England style hazy IPAs, a little bit better tropical fruit?
I can see that you interview a lot of brewers.
I'm just trying to make you think,
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not as excited about the super citrusy ones.
Okay.
So, but I think my favorite IPA is like the one I haven't tried yet, because I just like exploring them. I do have a favorite, like a go-to for other styles, but IPAs, I'm always trying new stuff. Yeah.
I'd say best answer ever so far.
Yeah. No.
The one I like is the one I haven't tried yet.
The one I haven't tried yet.
Yeah. And Chris, what's your famous slogan?
If you didn't like the style, you just haven't tried the right one.
That's right.
Oh,
Keep trying. You will eventually find one you like. And that has come true for so many of our listeners that write in and say, you know what? I've never liked Saisons, but I found one I like. And then they start to appreciate the style a little bit more and find more that they like, even though they always hated that style before, or sours or IPAs even. There's one listener that, like you, didn't like IPAs because they came across so bitter, and now he's even showing us triple IPAs that he's like, wow, this is the best beer ever. I'm like, whoa, whoa, that's step back, Matt. That's not like you, because he usually likes the brown ales and the maltier stuff. Doesn't have that big hop. But yeah, just keep trying them until you find one you like. That's our motto here.
Definitely. Yeah, that was the whole reason I contacted the show in the first place. I didn't like the Belgian ones. Well, so other than the ones that you just haven't tried yet that you like the best, do you have a favorite style?
I do. And it's funny what you just said a minute ago, that you don't like the Belgian ones.
But I do now.
Okay. Because I would say Belgians are like my favorite style.
Oh,
Farmhouse ales, Belgians, Saisons, if they're not sour.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to cause a ruckus.
Please do it.
I love pumpkin. I don't care what anyone says about them. I love pumpkin, anything spicy. Farmhouse ales, triples. That's all my favorite styles.
Okay. Yeah. I also love Belgians, and I didn't like, okay. So again, to fill you in on some background, I used to not like Belgian ales until my former co-host, who, when I was on a different podcast, wrote into me and said, hey, Denny, try these Belgian beers, and then after these beers, tell me you don't like Belgian beers. And I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I went and drank the beers and found out I love Belgian beers. And from that point on, I learned to appreciate them. And now, like you, I love all Belgian. The only Belgian beers I don't like are Belgian IPAs, because that just doesn't go well, and Belgian stouts.
Okay.
I don't like.
I'll take your word
either.
for that.
Yeah. But I love everything else, and he turned me around by giving me some beers to try that maybe I hadn't tried before, and the same thing with Chris, right? Chris said he wrote into the show as a listener saying, hey, I just don't like Belgian ales, and then now he's a co-host, and he enjoys Belgian ales. So it
all come full circle.
Yeah. Okay.
So someone gave you best in class.
Yes.
And you learn that you really do like them.
Yeah. Same thing happened for me. My brother-in-law at the time used to work for a beer distributor, and he goes, here, try these 4, and then we'll talk. All right.
Okay. Is there a brewery, a beer, or a style that is no longer around, but you wish would make a comeback?
Oh.
A brewery, a beer, or a beer style that is no longer around that you'd like to have make a comeback?
Beer or a beer straw. I will just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. And
Yeah.
I would have never pulled this like on my own. I would have never pulled this out without your very intriguing question, Benny. So back in the early 90s, I used to work at Old Chicago and pedal beers. And they had Fat Tire, or I'm sorry, New Belgium had, I can't remember the name, a cherry beer.
Oh, a creek.
And I don't think I would like it. And I think my tastes have evolved, and I don't think I'd be drawn to that beer now. But when they discontinued it, I was devastated. So I got it now after the show. I'm gonna go look up what that was called. It was a New Belgium cherry beer, and I don't remember what it was.
So I have a number of New Belgian 22-ounce bottles here. They have a
Oh,
whole series of La
Cherry
Folie.
Bomb. I think it was called Cherry Bomb.
Oh, Cherry
Does that
Bomb.
sound familiar? I'm gonna write a note to myself.
Yeah,
to
write a note and let us know
research
if it is
that
Cherry Bomb. But
cherry
There's
beer from.
let's see, Two Cherry Ale was the other older one that I could find.
well, they had a creek that was you know, a Belgian like creek ale cherry with cherries. But that's the closest thing I know of cherries. But maybe they did have
Yeah.
one that was even before that.
I will get back to you.
All right. So that's your choice. You want this cherry. So you enjoy the cherry flavor in beers?
I would say that the old me would have really missed that beer. Now, again, my tastes have changed. I'm not sure that that would be one I would pick off the shelf now, but it just, when you said that, it triggered that memory of how devastated I was that they stopped producing that beer. And in Arizona, I'm in Arizona, and we are so fortunate that we haven't had a lot of brewery closings here. So we don't have a lot of breweries per capita, and we're booming in that regard. So we're on the other end where we haven't had a ton of closings. So I haven't had that misfortune of having a brewery that I love close around me, but.
Okay. Well, yeah, we've had a few here in my area. I know, Chris, in your area, you've had a few. In fact,
I don't think few is the word to use. Somebody just wrote, I'm just hopping on, but New Belgium did that Lips of Faith series that had some interesting flavors.
It was way before that.
Yeah, it was before that.
Lips of
Okay.
Faith had a
Hi,
cherry.
Elena. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let us know.
Oh, I'm not gonna sleep until I get to the bottom of this.
We're gonna get a Facebook message or an email at like 3:30 in the morning. This was it. This was the one.
Thank you. Keep researching.
Yeah.
I need to remember if I had it though. But back in the early days, all I was drinking, but back in the late 90s from New Belgium was pretty much their Fat Tire, because that's what we got in our area. It wasn't until probably around the early 2000s that we started getting a lot of their 22-ounce bottle, like, you know, all their special beers would come in, and I just grabbed all of them. They were all great. All their Fooder series, Lips of Faith, all that stuff. I mean, I loved them, and that's the one thing that's sad that I don't see anymore is I don't see those beers. I don't know if they're making them and only selling them locally in the Denver, Colorado area, or if they're just not doing them at all anymore, which would be sad.
And aren't they also brewing out of North Carolina now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just outside of Asheville.
Okay, whoever was just on researching the cherry, go find out some information for us. Lips of Faith.
Yeah, Lips of Faith was a great series, and especially for someone who doesn't like sour beers, that was.
Yeah, they were all good. There's only one I think that I didn't like very much. I'm not a big fan of cherry in beer because sometimes it comes across too strong and medicinal, like I'm drinking Robitussin. But I have had some really good blends of cherry and chocolate stouts that just adds that little hint of cherry, like a cordial cherry, chocolate cherry thing, and those have been fantastic when it just adds that slight touch in there against that dark chocolate. I like that.
Yeah, done the same. So Jen, if you were going to rate your beers, do you You like to rate them for overall enjoyment or against others of the same style?
Oh, so I was looking at my Untapped profile and I saw that my average rating is 3.71. And I thought that was funny because I feel like I give everything like a 4.25 because I don't want to. So I definitely feel like I'm not the best rater in the world because I feel like I just rate it for like how I'm feeling in that moment. And I don't truly give it, I don't rate it against, any other beers of its style. I just rate it for, this is good or not good. So, yeah, I'm pretty steady. Like if you look at my Untapped, it's like, looks like this and then like this on my rating. So I'm right hovering around that 4-star rating.
I think I am too.
Well, yeah, Chris and I think our average ratings are right around 4.08. I think we found out at the end of last year.
Geez, being specific.
No, because remember we were like one, like 0.0, like we were like 0.01 off from each other. I think something like that. We were pretty close.
Oh yeah. But yeah, we do the year in beer every year on the show too. We talk about our biggest and our best, and then what we enjoyed. I don't know. I don't even know.
Yeah, I've been trying to get that. So there's a problem with Untapped. They keep deleting my check-ins, which is a pain because I've been on the road to 5,000 unique check-ins for like feels like 10 years now. I've been waiting to get from 2,500 to 5,000, and I'm like, how come my numbers keep dropping? And at one point they dropped 800 beers in 1 year. I'm like, what the heck happened here? And then they've been slowly dropping, 20 or I don't know, the ones I catch now, because I'm keeping track of what I have at the end of 1 year to the next year and what they say I added up. And if they don't add up, then I know they've lost some I didn't.
It's my way of, kind of fixing the race and catching up to you.
Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, I will say the last few years, I used to chase the new beers, right? I always want to try something new to see if what's great. And since COVID, I realized that, during that pandemic, when all those breweries were not able to have people come in and buy their beer, I didn't want to see them disappear because they weren't getting sales and stuff. So I drink a lot of repetitive stuff.
You took one for the team and kept them in business.
So I just drink a lot of stuff that, locally, like, like I said, I got Sockeye right now. I've got, what's the other one I have? Oh, you did this.
Mad
Swede.
You did that one, right? That 10-tacker, because I saw that on your on your board. But I have this Naked Sunbather gold medal winner from GABF 2019.
I still never got my hat from that other podcast, Danny. I'm really bitter about it.
But I try to buy. I just want to keep my local breweries that I really enjoy in business. So I just try to buy as much stuff that I just enjoy drinking and keep them money flowing in. So I haven't been doing as much, going out there and buying every new thing that comes out. Just enjoying what I've got. That's my thing. Okay, so Jen, you know what? We don't usually do this, but because we like you so much, do you have any questions you want to ask us about our craft beer journey? We just grilled you for
I want to. Yes, absolutely.
I didn't prepare for this.
You're gonna know. This is gonna spin off your tongue. So I want to know, both of you, what was your gateway beer?
Sam Adams Boston Lager.
Sam Adams Boston Lager, not a bad one.
Okay, so for me, mine's difficult because I'll say my gateway beer to stuff that wasn't industrial. It was kind of still an industrial beer, but it was kind of like not. Do you remember Henry Weinhardt's?
Oh, yes.
So that was my kind of like intro into beers that tasted different than everything else. And the Boar's Head Red Lager was just one of my favorite beers. We can't see it on camera, but over here I have a bar mirror of Boar's Head Red with a big boar on it and stuff. that was probably my gateway into beers that weren't just Budweiser, Coors, Olympia, Rainier, Pabst, all that stuff. Hams was big in my area when I was in high school and stuff. So Henry Weinhard's was probably my intro into beers that weren't like everything else, darker beers, that darker lagers and such. But my intro into craft beer was from a small craft beer brewery outside of the sub base that I was stationed at in Poulsbo, Washington. And it was Thomas Kemper Brewing, no longer in business. They were bought by Pyramid in the late 90s, and Pyramid basically just shut them down and kept their root beer line, I think. It's just sad.
I was going to say, I've never had a Thomas Kemper beer, but I've had their root beer.
Yeah. So they kept the root beer stuff, but they basically just kind of like disbanded the beer. And their beer was incredible. But not only was their beer incredible, their atmosphere at their brewery, their family acceptance, and just bring your family and play all day long and drink beer and eat and stuff. I mean, my wife and I and my kids just loved going there and just spending time with our coworkers and stuff. And so that was my first experience with craft beer, and really got me looking in to, to try more craft beer. Now, it's funny I say that because I was raised in Oregon, and you would think that, Deschutes would be my first, entry into it, because it was right down this, it was really close to where I was at. But it wasn't. It wasn't until after I experimented with Thomas Kemper and found, dark lagers, and there was a blueberry dark lager they did, and there was also a wheat beer, raspberry wheat, and that's the first time I ever had some kind of hint of fruit in beer as well, which I thought was really kind of cool. But then after that, then I started drinking stuff. Then I saw Black Butte Porter, and that was my I got into Black Butte, and Red Hook ESB, which back then Red Hook ESB was a different beer. It was actually a pretty it had some pretty good bitterness to it, and now it's kind of more just malty. But in Alaskan Amber was another beer that was that I started drinking a lot of back in the mid 90s, and really got into. So that was my gateway. It's kind of a hard thing to nail down. It was kind of, but I would say gateway into true craft beer was Thomas Kemper. So Thomas Kemper, the Kemper part is he's the owner and of Chuckanut Brewing in Seattle area. Have you heard of Chuckanut? They do lagers. Chuckanut.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh.
All right, Chris, you already said yours, right? Yours
I did.
was.
Yep.
Well, he said his, but he was super fast and didn't go into details.
But see, that's how Denny and I operate.
I'm the talker.
Denny is the talker, and it's weird. That's basically what I do for a living is talk to people. But when it comes down to giving answers, describing things, Denny is very detailed in the way that he describes things. I go, beer's good, I like it, I'll do it again. He tells you what date it was, what cycle the moon was in, where he was in the country, and that's just me. But it was just I started my craft beer journey underage as well. But I still remember trying Boston Lager and going, wow, just such a huge, big flavor, because I'd never liked beer before.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was always, anybody in our family was always drinking things like Busch Light, Keystone. We saw a lot of Pabst in our family. So that kind of stuff, where it was just like whatever you could buy in a big box at one time.
And like me, I didn't know other beers existed. Really. I mean, other than what was in the keg at the party and what my dad drank after mowing the lawn. I mean, I didn't know that there was this world of beer that existed.
Yeah.
So
you said something interesting pretty earlier, though. You said it would kind of depend on where you were, where you
I don't
lived
mean
at the
me,
time.
I just mean like anyone.
Sure. And
yes.
And
so
now I'm curious.
Yeah. So let's go back to that. Denny mentioned hams And what else?
There was Hams, Olympia, Rainier. Those were the big ones in where I was at.
In the Pacific Northwest?
In the Northwest, and
Okay.
Coors Banquet, not Coors Light, but Coors Banquet. So it's funny because of all those beers, I liked Coors Banquet the most, and I still drink Coors Banquet today. I still go and
Annie,
buy.
don't tell people that. We
Well,
have a
I do
craft beer. No, I'm just kidding.
because it's a good beer,
Yeah.
and it used to be cheap. Now it's just as expensive as craft beer, so I don't buy it as much. But if there's a 30 pack on sale at Costco, hey, I might pick up a 30 pack and drink it while I'm camping. Right, it's a good camping beer.
Yep.
But only the Banquet, not the Coors Light. I've never liked Coors Light. I've never been a big Budweiser fan. It just kind of hurts my head when I drink it, and it gives me some weird stomach issues too. So I never really liked that. And Olympia was the beer I drank in high school because my uncle would come by and give me a 6-pack on a Friday night and say, "Here you go, have fun," and I would drink it because it was free, right? So I just drank what was available.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my two were Sam Adams, because I grew up on the East Coast. Sam Adams and Dogfish Head. But Dogfish Head was hard for me to get used to. Now,
Yeah.
now it's I'm a little more curious about some of their beers that they put out. But I remember the first one that I was shown was their Raison d'Etre, which is like I think it's an old ale.
Mm.
And my friend Adam swore up and down it was the best beer ever. And I tasted it and I went, yeah, it's real good.
Not for me.
No. So I think for the most part, when it came down to drinking as around 21, it was more just liquor and things for me. But there was the Weinstefaner is what got me in college after trying to really like craft beer. Some good old German beer steered me in the right direction.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was a great discussion on craft beer journeys. Thank you, Jen, for giving Chris and I and our listeners a little insight into your craft beer journey. It was very enlightening. But we're going to give you a break. We're going to go into, we actually love getting listener voicemails, and we put the call out last couple shows because we haven't had any for like a long time. And
Feels
we
like
had
forever.
Yeah, and we had two people leave us voicemail. We have 3 altogether. So Chris, you get those queued up?
They weren't in my email.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay.
Come on, man.
Well, emails have been weird for me lately too.
Okay, so we're going to, as soon as Chris gets this up, I'll have to edit this out now. Come on.
No, you don't have to edit it out. I just listen. This.
But
whoa, hey, it was playing already. I didn't even get the chance to share the screen yet. Buck's yelling in my ear.
Well, that's what I was going to say is we have one that's going to be special for you, Jim, because we had our listener see that you were going to be on a show and had to call in and give some praise to you and tintacos.com.
So if this goes poorly, it's your fault, Jen. Okay, here we go.
Hey guys, what's up, man? Buck from Oklahoma City, just reaching out to you. Gonna send a big shout out to your guest on the show tonight, Tin Tackers. We did get our Tin Tackers from them, and they're a great company. They even buy back some of the tackers they put on their website, so you can go to the website and get some, which I know you guys have done, and I definitely appreciate it. Anyways, just wanted to send a shout out, let everybody know this Saturday, March 9th, we're celebrating our 4-year anniversary. That's right, we've made it 4 years. I can't believe it either, especially in the state of things today, but everything is going well on our end. We're having a huge party, live music, new beer releases, an Irish dance, some food. It's going to be a great time. So if anybody is in Oklahoma City, wants to have a get it, March 9th, starts at 2 o'clock, block party, Core 4 Brewing. Appreciate you guys. Keep up the good work. We'll talk again soon. See ya.
Well, there you go. There's Buck.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Oh, as he plays it again, there's Buck from Core 4 Brewing.
I love it. 4-year anniversary at Core 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my dad's
Great.
birthday too. That's awesome.
Nice. Nice.
All right, well, you ready for Eric?
Yeah. We also have 2 voicemails from our good buddy Eric Gronley out of Chaplin, Minnesota. And he left one, and then he forgot a story he wanted to tell and left us a second one. So here we go.
Hey guys, it's Eric Gronley from Champlin, Minnesota. Wanted to check in. Been a long time since I left a voicemail.
Yes, it has.
Been catching up on some episodes I was behind on, and
I'm mad, just
you guys
disappointed.
put the call out there for some voicemails to be left. So here we go. Just finished up 247. Thought it was a great episode on the P breweries. One of my favorite P breweries is Portage, which is out of Walker, Minnesota, near Bemidji. Coffee Cake Blonde is one that I've had. It's cinnamon and vanilla in a blonde ale. Very, very good. Give that one a 4.5 cap rating. And then Above the Clouds is a Northeast IPA. I gave that one a 5 cap rating. I just thought they nailed it. Really juicy pineapple, pear, and grapefruit, citrus, juicy. Super refreshing. And then the third one that I really have enjoyed from them is called It's a Vibe, which is a coconut stout, and I gave that one a 4.25. I'm not the biggest fan of coconut, but it has really grown on me this last year. This beer may have opened my eyes to it. It had the weight of a stout, but the coconut and a little bit of banana complemented it really well. For some of like the regional or national breweries, I think Pipeworks would be a second P brewery for me. They always have solid beer. Prairie Artisan Ales would be kind of a third. I think that's it for that recap. I will catch you guys soon. Have a great one.
All right. Thanks, Eric. Now for number 2.
Part 2.
Hey guys, it's Eric Gronley from Champlin, Minnesota. I just left you a voicemail, but I was remembering something, kind of a funny situation that reminded me. One of the things that I enjoy about the entire show is the blooper reel at the end. I'm not sure if everybody likes that, but I really like that. I get a kick out of it.
Same.
And Denny, I'm really sorry that you had to go through that fridge freezer ordeal. It's kind of funny because I found myself around New Year's in a similar position. I just made a beer run to grab some 4 and 6 packs from the store, and I realized that I may have bought more than I could fit at that time. What I realized was that part of the problem was I had this massive ice block that had built up around the little half mini fridge that I had. And this is a mini fridge that usually could fit 50 cans, pretty easy if I'm doing the right geometrical math and have my Tetris brain screwed on. So I grabbed my chisel and hammer and I started chunking away at the ice, and it was crazy. It was like a gallon ice cream bucket's worth of ice. Put a little elbow grease into that and was able to free it up so that all my new beers could fit. Thank goodness. Was quite relieved. It also made the beer that I cracked open taste just a little bit better, maybe a 0.25 extra rating there. But I just wanted to say thanks again for all the great content that you guys put out there. I know all of us listeners really appreciate it. The laughs, the one-liners, all of that. 2023 for me was a mixed bag of highs and lows, but it's in the rearview mirror. So cheers to 2024, guys, and look forward to talking with you soon. Bye.
Well, cheers, Eric. We appreciate that. And yes, my mini fridge freezer ice up was quite a challenge for me. It looks like Eric didn't have to spend 3 days trying to get his thaw like I did, but
yeah. But I mean, it was a pain. I bet it was. I'm glad you guys didn't have the same issue that I did, because I had a mini fridge a few years ago that I decided to start chipping away at the ice. I didn't realize the refrigerant lines were just, that's what those little coils were in there. And I did it in the middle of my office when I was working in Ohio. And of course, working in the maintenance department, everybody came in to tell me how much of a moron I was. So lesson learned. Lesson learned. So,
Yeah.
So that reminds me of a story that I need to share.
Okay.
So the year was, no, probably about 8 years ago. I went on a little road trip with my sister, and we went all across from Florida to Arizona, and we hit a ton of breweries on the way in our move. She was moving, and we picked up so many. We had a U-Haul, and we picked up so many beers that when we got to my home, we had to buy a deep freezer, and then we bought like this little thing that
temperature controller.
Yes. And it changed it to a refrigerator temperature.
Mhm.
So we loaded, and it was loaded. It was like a huge deep freeze loaded with our craft beer from this journey that we made. And I don't want to even think about how much money we spent on that. Anyway, at some point, the little temperature thing got knocked off.
Oh
Oh
no.
no.
Everything
Oh,
froze, and we
no.
threw it all
Oh,
away at the end.
Oh no.
Well, I was gonna say, money's money. You can always make more money, but then when you freeze it and burn it, just like
Oh, that
like that,
breaks my
that's-
heart.
That's sad.
Oh.
No, it was pretty heartbreaking. It just reminded me of that,
Oh.
of that story.
That's a
So-
hell of a
Haven't
vacation,
thought
though, even
about
though it was
that in
moving.
half a
Yeah.
decade.
That's
Yeah. So
great.
that brings up a story of one of our listeners that found us on a road trip from, I think it was from Kansas back to Pennsylvania. And they stopped and they bought a bunch of beer on the way. And then they got home, and then she took a picture of of a regular fridge. They don't have a beer fridge, of the regular fridge, and literally, open up the French door. Well, it's like the one that has
Side
the
by
two.
side.
No, side by side. It's the French door one that
That was
has
the that was the big one freezer at the bottom.
Yeah, and the entire fridge, doors, all the shelves, everything was full of beer, and they had like some some pickled onions or whatever for martinis, whatever the little onions in, and then some pickles, I think, and that was it. Everything else was
Hours?
beer. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I was
was
gonna say
Kevin
it
and
sounds
Amanda.
like Amanda and Kevin.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, they bought so much beer, they don't have any room for food in their fridge anymore. Oh, but
So,
they found us by wanting to. They just went and started visiting some breweries on this road trip, and they said, you know what? Let's find a craft beer podcast to listen to. And they started going through, and they said, this is not good. Then they got to us, and then they just enjoyed our our show and the way that John and I were interacting and talking about beer, and then they just
well, it was
it
either
became
they stopped searching because they were tired of searching, and just we happened to be the lucky ones.
yeah, but it's okay. We have a way. But I also am known to, my voice will soothe the the dog world during 4th of July fireworks. She will put the dogs in the car, play the podcast, and all her dogs will calm down by listening
Mine's
to my
sleeping
voice.
right now, and he can't even hear Denny.
So I got a special
Your
way.
podcast has so many uses.
Right?
It is. It is. It's got.
It's
Now it also puts
information,
my daughter to
education.
sleep because she used to have a room right next to mine when she was here, and she got used to listening to me talk and fall asleep while I was podcasting. So it puts
Your
puts her to
sultry
sleep.
voice lulled her to sleep.
Oh, but yeah. As far as voicemails, we love getting voicemails. Thank you, Buck and Eric. If you want to be like Buck and Eric and leave us a voicemail, we would love to hear it and play it on the show. You can call us at 208-536-3359. But you know what? That is way too many numbers to remember. Just remember 208-53. Oddly, program it into your phone, Tap the Craft podcast number, and just speak into it. Hey, Siri, call Tap the Craft podcast, and leave us a voicemail, just like Buck and Eric did.
Buck and Eric.
Yeah, good peeps right there. But if you are too shy to talk to us, that's okay. You can leave us an email at tapthecraft@gmail.com. That's kind of boring, but
Drink a
we'll
beer
do that
first.
Yeah, we'll do that too. Or on Facebook. Facebook is too easy. Facebook.com/tapthecraft, and Chris will contact you because I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but Chris does. And we do have our Tap the Craft podcast website at tapscraft.com. We don't have any interactive stuff there, but you can go and check out the site and see our blog. Sometimes I post on there, not very often. See the podcast, our links, whatever. But where all the action is right now is on our Discord server at taptocraft.com/Discord. It's a community just for Tap to Craft listeners to interact with one another. So go join our Discord. And yeah. Okay, Chris, we're going to go right into the brew buzz because we've been chatting up a storm. I don't want to keep Jen all night long. I'm sure she has better things to do than to talk to
Let's do one thing before we get yelled at, because I'd hate to ruin his check-in streak.
Oh, you do want to do the Untapped?
It's a short one. It's a short one.
It's a short one. Okay, so let's continue the conversation because now it's time to untap the craft and see what our listeners are drinking according to Untapped.
Well, starting with Art Warcheck is checking into a heady topper by The Alchemist. No notes to go along with it, but gives it a 4.5 cap rating. So we'll go ahead and toast that one. That's always a win in my book. Bill Schlemmer, down here in Florida right now, right? He's in the Fort Lauderdale area, checking into a B-bomb. Fremont Brewing
Fremont?
In Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
Really?
He said, surprised and delighted to find this beer from Seattle as a guest tap at a nano brewery in Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
Smooth for a 14.7% beer. Nice bourbon and chocolate notes with subtle cinnamon and vanilla. It's a great winter ale. Yeah, it goes great on the beach too, Bill. I've done it. It's awesome.
It's a big beer for a beach time.
No such thing. Every season is stout season here in Florida, Denny. 4.5 cap rating for that one. But Jeff Weesey, I haven't seen this brewery show up in a while. Jeff is checking into a Brewer's Reserve Phantasma Cosmico Chocolate Stout. That was just fun to say. Wow. He's checking into this beer made by Central Waters Brewing Company. He said, awesome rum barrel aging, notes of cocoa nibs, cinnamon, and vanilla, picking up just a hint of the ancho and guajillo peppers in the finish. 5 cap rating for that beer. That sounds very familiar to a beer that's getting ready to be released at the end of this week from Monster Cigar City. Cigar Monster City? I don't know what they're calling it anymore. But it's a Denny, I had a moment where I went and picked up my bottles from the bottle club the other day.
You got all of them?
I picked them all up. Now, here's what I ran into is I didn't realize if you ever go to Cigar City, Mike Allen was there the same day that I ran there. But what I didn't realize is that just about a mile up the road is our football stadium where the Buccaneers play. Billy Joel was in concert at the stadium that night. And I got off the exit and I'm going, wow, why is traffic just so insane? Well, when you get off the exit, you turn right and you either turn almost immediate left to go to Cigar City or continue straight and continue on to Raymond James Stadium. And I, in my logoed sit vehicle, may have made some evasive maneuvers to get where I needed to go. Went across the traffic to go the back way in.
Whoa, that is so wrong, Chris. That's one of those, huh?
Well, I was that day. But I was running out of time. But yeah, stopped at Cigar City, and I had a realization that might be one of the last times I might ever be in that building.
That's too bad.
But hey, continuing on, speaking of Mike Allen, he's checking into an 1840s East India Porter. I'd like to know more about that. By Zebulon Artisan Ales, 4 cap rating. No notes to go with that one. Continuing his check-in streak. This is why we did this, Chad. Chad Lamassa is drinking an It's Complicated by Big Oyster Brewery. He said chocolate-covered raspberries and coffee. Very nice. 4.25 cap rating for that beer. And I'm only going to say this one just because of the name of the beer. Art Warcheck is checking into a fuck Art, let's dance. I
haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, well, you know. I mean, if I can drop an F-bomb occasionally on the show, I'm totally okay with it.
We are family friendly, except for when Chris gets to drop an F-bomb once in a while.
Yeah. it makes me feel better about myself.
It was
But
the name of a beer, so that's
oh, so that makes it okay. Yeah, you don't
Yeah,
have to
you're
censor
okay.
that. But I don't know the name of the brewery because it's TO and then there's a 0 and an L. And TO space
I think
0. It's based out of Denmark.
yeah, it's Denmark brewery.
It looks like
Yeah.
it spells the word tool, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I've had beers from them before.
I have too. I've checked into 3 of them, but
Okay.
I just wanted to be able to say fuck Art because that's awesome. And that's his name too, so it's even better. And it was his 9,000th check-in. So man, that's all
Art.
around. That's
He's a mo. Art's making me like a wimp.
well, I mean, he is the beer buyer for the grocery store, so
That's
it's kind
true.
of hard not to get so
And
many.
most of those are just
Has
little
to
samples.
taste them.
Yeah, he's just doing these little samples.
I don't care, man. That was my favorite place to go grocery shopping. That's why I made so many friends there. Jeff Seiler is checking into a steam. Oh, I'm over here dropping stuff. Steam Barrel IPA by WeldWorks Brewing Company. Checking in at the Blue Ridge Beer Hub. He said, "Nice West Coast IPA, citrusy and crushable. One of the first beers ever released at WeldWorks."
Oh,
Your history lesson for the day too.
wow. Yeah.
And
I like
since-
WeldWorks. You
Me
like
too.
WeldWorks, Jen?
Oh, sure.
It's a
Yes.
it's a Colorado brewery.
One of
So I didn't know.
One of my favorite. Yeah.
I can't tell if she's playing along or if
I'm
she's
gonna-
serious.
I'm gonna write down some notes. Look them up. You know,
Well, they make some great IPAs. So I know you're a big IPA.
Yeah,
fan.
I mean they've got one called Juicy Bits.
Yeah, Juicy Bits.
Well, this one's
Ooh.
what was it? Extra juicy.
Extra Juicy Bits.
extra,
I like that
extra
one too.
juicy.
Yeah, that was a good one. But speak of voicemails too, Eric Gronley is checking into a ghost ship by Elm Creek Brewing Company at the GHQ, or as we so lovingly know it as the Gronley headquarters. Love the solid execution on this beer. Elm Creek doesn't dabble in porters all that much, but they dialed in the roasty caramel flavors. Really clean finish. 4-cap rating for that one. And unless I hit refresh and there's more in here, Chad Lamassa is going to close out our Untapped the Craft segment with a Blarney Stoned by Black Flag Brewing Company.
Oh, Black Flag.
And, well, he went after this one because of the can art. So, a man after my own heart. I mean, listen, I totally get it. Plus, I know Black Flag makes good beers. This is a nice and hoppy and just a touch spicy 4 1/4 caps for that check-in. And I'm going to hit refresh and wow. A name I don't get to say a whole lot. Mark Connor checking into a Hey Helen by Diametric Brewing Company. Very light malt nose. Taste is light, crisp, and malty rice. There's a nice hoppiness also. 4-cap rating for that check-in. And a couple more from Art Warcheck. Buddy, your pictures look just the same, but hey. I think it's his girlfriend's birthday too. So happy birthday, Dottie. And that's what everybody's drinking, Denny.
All right. Sounds like a good time on the beach with 14% beers.
Next time I go to the beach, I'm taking one with me and I'm going to text you a picture of it.
Okay. Well, I do enjoy, I mean, I do drink stouts and big beers all year round. I just don't drink as much during the summer because I like refreshing stuff.
Fair.
All right. Well, it is time for our Brew Buzz segment, and the Brew Buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. And this week, we want to learn all about the origins of tintackers.com and the process involved in getting your favorite tackers built. So, Jen, I mean, I want to let you know I do read your blog messages, posts on the site, and I think it was in November's blog or maybe beginning of December's blog, you did write a it was during the small business month
Saturday. Yeah.
And you wrote a blog post about the beginning. So I did read that, but I have a little bit of insight on your beginning, but it's important for our listeners to understand your origin story. So I know earlier you did kind of comment on the fact that you were enjoying going around visiting breweries and drinking beer, and you wanted to buy these tackers that you could bring down to your basement and, adorn your walls and have a nice little pub atmosphere down there, but they were hard to find. I'm going to fill in the blanks here. So you decided that you wanted to open up like an e-commerce site and see if you can try to sell these. So starting at that point, what made you decide to start tintackers.com as an e-commerce site?
Well, this is going to be fun to answer. May I open?
Of course you can.
May I do a live Untapped?
Yes.
I got to give a shout out to
Please.
Kinkaider Brewing. They're from Nebraska, and I'm from Nebraska, and they have some of the best can art out there. So
it looks nice. Cheers
to Kinkaider Brewing. This is their Snow Beast Winter Ale, one of my favorites. It may be 75 degrees here, but this still tastes pretty good. So pouring myself a little Snow Beast Winter Ale from Kinkaider Brewing Company.
Okay. What's the flavor profile? Is it like a strong ale?
Christmas in a glass.
I would say, you know what? I don't know if you just read that off the can or what. I will read it. A winter beast of cinnamon and malt, creamy with a sweet aroma. This beer finishes strong with sweet vanilla. Snow Beast is the perfect beer for when you're caught in a harsh Nebraska snowstorm or a beautiful sunny day in New River, Arizona. Either way.
Oh, okay. That sounds great.
Yeah, so it was Small Business Saturday in November, and for the first time ever, Denny, I shared my origin story, which was a little emotional. Yeah. For me. So I will just share I will just kind of give a brief overview of how I started Tin Tackers. So my husband and I collected tin tackers. We had a home bar, or not a home bar, a home, just kind of a hangout space in our basement that we loved. Really great beer logos. Nobody was really doing can art at the time, but we just love that look of the authentic tackers, the embossed look of the kind of the old oil and gas industry tackers. So we were collecting them, but it was a labor of love. Like I said, you couldn't find them. It was very difficult to find. So we just kind of explored the idea of starting a business and making a one-stop shop for finding tin tackers. And at the time, I didn't even know what tin tackers were. I had to look up what breweries were calling these signs, and I found that they were typically called tackers. If the breweries had them, they called them tackers. And so I started contacting some of the bigger breweries that had them, and I just asked, can I buy them at is there any way you could set up like a wholesale account for me and I could buy them? Because I'm just the kind of person that, like, if I have an idea, I'm going for it. If nobody else is doing it, why not me? So I contacted Sierra Nevada, I contacted Deschutes, I contacted New Belgium and Odell and Cigar City and some of the bigger breweries that were already selling them, and Rogue, and I just asked. And most of them thought I was crazy. I remember having a very weird meeting with Cigar City. They just didn't get what I was wanting to do, but a few did. And so I started buying wholesale certain breweries' tin tackers, and I just set up a store on Shopify, and I was like, if nobody else is doing this, I'm gonna do it. And so my husband and he was a very busy man, but he was so excited about my passion for this that he was 100% on board. And after about a year of selling all these random brewery tackers, I started getting inquiries from breweries and they would just say, hey, instead of like a buyer buying a core 4 brewing company, I would get a call from, you know, a brewery, and they would say, hey, how much for 100, you know, 12-inch diameter, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, you're calling the wrong person. I just sell these. And after a while, my husband Newell was like, well, why are you telling everybody no? Why don't you figure out a way to do it? And so it never even occurred to me that I could be the one that supplied these. And so with his encouragement, I found a fabricator, and it took about a year. And in that time, I was able to, you know, figure out what my specifications needed to be able to produce custom tackers for all these breweries that were contacting me on a very regular basis. And I started saying yes. So at that point, like 2 years of telling people no, I couldn't do them, I started saying, why, yes, I actually can make your custom tackers. And that was like the very beginning of 2000, or late 2016, early 2017. And then shortly after I started making custom tackers for people very successfully, my husband passed away very unexpectedly. And I remember just needless to say, my world was in disarray. And I remember looking at my emails and thinking how ridiculous it is that I had these emails from people I didn't even know asking me for things. And I had absolutely no intention of ever returning to my business or doing anything I had done before. I was in a state. And I remember one day just going to my office and saying, okay, I'm just going to fill these orders because I have orders, and I'm just going to mindlessly fill them. And I started filling orders, and at the same time thinking, this is so weird and so surreal. And then a couple days later, I started looking at my other emails about the custom inquiries and thinking, these people have no idea what is going on in my life. I can either shut down my business and ignore them, you know, completely shut down, or I can just answer their emails. And they never need to know what's going on. And I just started answering emails, and all of a sudden I was back to I was all in. And I just look back at that time in my life and think, I didn't want to do anything. And here I am filling orders and answering emails as if my life is fine, and it wasn't fine. But in hindsight, I think going back and going all in on my business really set me on the path to healing. And so fast forward a year later, I was doing a ton of custom tacker business, and I've just been expanding my business ever since and going full force. And that is how I started. So now I have 2 facets of my business. I have my e-commerce store that I run out of New River, Arizona, where all my orders get filled from people that are collectors. That is my e-commerce site, tintackers.com. And then I've also got my custom side that I have a fabricator in Ohio that does everything for me, and they are wonderful. And they I have now helped over 2,000 breweries make their tin tackers.
Wow.
Nice.
Breweries, and some of them many different can art, you know, different styles of tackers. But that is how I started and how I got to where I am today. And I owe a lot of that to my husband, Newell, who gave me his, you know, ideas for becoming bigger than what I ever dreamed, and where I am today.
Yeah, it was his support and I mean, by him saying, well, why don't you come up with a way of doing it for him, that got you to even think about going outside of just the boutique, Shopify, selling things that be the middleman between breweries and the customers, which was already an interesting. I mean, you would think that the breweries would already have this set up on their sites to sell stuff, but as you mentioned, a lot of breweries just don't have that website presence to have a merch store on site. If they do, like I remember buying stuff from Flying Dog when they were in Colorado. When they moved to Maryland, then I didn't get anything because the beer stopped coming to Boise and everything. But I was buying stuff from their store, um, and because I love their artwork, right? That all that. I can't think of the guy's name. The artist that does all their. You know Flying Dog, right? Were you? Remember Flying Dog from
Love
Colorado?
Flying Dog.
Okay.
And I'm actually secretly working with Flying Dog right now
Oh.
to create something a little surprise this fall. So yes,
Oh,
I think
boy.
their artwork is like, for so long I had them on my kind of my wish list of who I could work with. So they're owned now
Wow.
by FX Matt Brewing.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
Matt
they're-
Brewing. Yeah.
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 Yeah, they're awesome. But you know, my husband, his name was Newell. If he hadn't said that to me, would I have ever even thought I
about it.
could do it? I
Mhm.
mean, it was just, he was like, obviously, figure out a way to do it. It was
Yeah.
just like, to him, it was such a no-brainer. And to me, it was like, well, I don't do that. Somebody else does that. But it's because of that statement that is why I do custom tackers now. So I'm so grateful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So going back to I want to focus on the beginning. What were the challenges that you came across? I mean, you mentioned you were reaching out, and you mentioned some of the challenges were the fact that the breweries just kind of looked at you like, what do you mean you want to sell my stuff on your site? But what challenges did you come across when starting to acquire these tackers from established breweries? I mean, obviously you had to. I mean, once they said yes, now you probably need to grab so many of them, right?
Yes. Okay. I'll tell you a very funny story. I was
Okay.
just thinking about this today. So one of my first customers was Rogue Ale, and
Mhm.
they had this awesome sign, and it was like, raise, oh, I can't believe I forgot it, but it was like a fist. It was a giant sign, like a 20
Oh yeah,
by
they're
15
Rogue
sign, and it was
Nation.
Yep.
raised here, Rogue raised
Rogue
here, and it
Nation.
had like
Yeah.
a fist. And
Yeah.
it was just this awesome oversized tacker. And my very first sale, April 2014, so almost 10 years ago, on my website was a Rogue raised here tacker sign. And so I had to buy 12 of them.
Okay.
They made me buy 12. Okay, so 12. So literally I'm looking for proof of concept at this point. So I'm buying the minimums. Like I have no package, I have no game plan. I have a very minimal website. I have a handful of tackers. I get my first customer. They buy this sign for $30. Okay, so they buy this sign for $30. I go to the post office. No idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it costs
They
more to ship it.
it cost me $43 to ship it. $43 to ship this thing because they had to like custom build this box. I mean, I didn't have a box. I didn't know how I was going to ship it. That wasn't what I was, that was not on my mind at that point. I was literally looking for proof. Could I sell these? Would people buy them at this price point? So I sold my first tacker for $30. I shipped it for $43.
Yes.
That was my first sale. And so honestly, I mean, there were so many problems, Denny, early on. I mean, the biggest one being that I couldn't find breweries that had tackers. I mean, by far, that was my biggest problem. The second problem was if I did find them, they didn't want to sell them to me. I mean,
Yeah.
they like, if they're going to sell them, they want to make them, they want to make all the money on them. So
Yeah.
I mentioned a minute ago, a very strange, call I had with the brewery, and they just didn't get it. But the ones that got it really got it. So I've had great relation, and to this day, I still sell some tackers that I don't make myself. So
Oh,
in
okay.
particular, Rogue, still I sell Rogue. I sell Brooklyn, Breakside out of Oregon, Funky Buddha out of Florida. So there's still a handful of tackers that I sell that I don't make, but 85-90% of the tackers on my site are from breweries that I made the tackers for. And so they sell them at their, in their tasting rooms and on their merch sites. And then they allow me to buy some back to sell. So everything that I sell on my site, they're all licensed breweries. I all have permission to sell them. But my biggest problem still to this day is breweries that don't have them because they don't think they can afford that. They don't think that they're there yet. Like they don't think that they can afford them. They don't have, their mind isn't on the, merchandise is just not top of mind for them. Brewing beer is top of mind for them.
Oh yeah.
Merchandise is not always top of mind.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
So, well, I was going to say I had somebody specifically reach out on our Facebook feed, Elena. So she's here in the Tampa area. She said a few things. You were talking about kind of your startup through this whole thing, and she put a simple emoji up as just two hands, like great job on the on like just that start of it. But on a different note, she said you had a wonderful and supportive husband. I'm sorry for the loss and wish you continued success. But it went from there to I'm really looking forward to shopping this site too. And I was just looking at the website in general. You had mentioned Rogue Brewing. If I remember correctly, the Bat Squatch Tacker is that still one of your best selling ones that you guys have? It was.
So
until
one of the
what
things
happened?
that drives me absolutely batty about breweries is they'll have like this great design and then they'll just not reorder it. So in Rogue's case, I didn't make their tackers, but they had two tackers in recent years. Their Dead Guy Ale, which everybody
Always
knows
a
what
winner.
that looks like. And that one is still on my website. It's no longer available through them, but you can still get it on my site. And then Bat Squatch. And oh my gosh, Bat Squatch is like my #1 seller ever on our website. And it's completely sold out. So you can't
It's such
get
a
it
cool
right
design.
now. And hopefully they'll get it again. It's such a very visual tacker with like all these purples and pink. I wish I had one to hold up right now, but it's just a beautiful.
Well, there's the Dead Guy.
Tacker.
There's the Dead Guy.
Oh yeah, Dead Guy. Hey.
Yeah. But yeah, that one was always a cool one. I remember looking at your site initially and I was like, man, I've never even had that beer, but I want that tacker.
I've had that beer. It's very good.
And and I know, and it's, if I remember correctly too, it's a bigger sign too. It's like at least 2 feet and some change, if I remember.
It is about that. It's a wide, well, it's wide and tall. Yeah. It's almost like a cut out of a square. So it's a beautiful, like the best of the best custom tacker in design, in size, and everything. Yeah. I wish I could claim that one, but I can't.
Well, that'll kind of lead us into the next question is, you talked about, well, it's a cutout of a square. What's
okay.
Well, hang on. Before you jump into that, just what's involved in getting a tin tacker created? Like, what's that process look like?
So you start with, well, first of all, people that think they can't afford it, usually you can. For my company, we have a minimum order quantity of just 25 units.
Mm.
So
That's
we're not talking now,
approachable.
obviously, the more you order, obviously economies of scale are in play and your price per unit drops dramatically if you can order, say, 100 or more. But they're not completely out of the ballpark for just about anybody. But when you're looking at a design, what's gonna, besides the quantity that you're ordering, is gonna be the size, the sheet size that you're putting it on. So behind you, Chris, we've got a Lost Colony kitty hawk right there.
Which we gave
And
away a
that was
couple
printed on
months
a
ago.
16 by 12 sheet. And so we talk about the sheet sizes because we pre-cut the sheets. And then whatever, you know, whether you print it a circle, a square, a rectangle, or some kind of crazy custom cut, it all starts out on that sheet size. So we pick our sheet size. We print everything now digitally. So we used to screen print, and now that we're printing digitally, it doesn't cost any more for that Lost Colony sign than it would for that Burley sign on the other side of you that's black and white. So it used to be that you could save money by doing signs that were just black and white, but now it doesn't matter. You can do full color for the same price as a black and white sign. A lot of people don't know that. Because it was always in the past by a per color, cost was by per color. And so, and then, so it gets digitally printed and then everything is put on the computer. So instead of doing what a lot of people think we die cut, a lot of people will ask me for a die cut. And they think that that means custom cut, but that's not what die cut means. A die cut is when it's basically like a cookie cutter. Like if you were taking a circle cookie cutter and pressing down, that's die cut. We use a laser to cut our tackers. So it can be any shape like that Core 4 behind Denny right now.
Frickin' lasers.
You can't tell maybe from the screen, but it has so many cutouts in it. It's yeah, it has a cutout in between each letter, in between the big 4 in the middle. It's a really cool cutout, and it took a lot of time on the laser cutter to do that Core 4 sign, probably more intricate than any other sign I've ever done is that Core 4 sign. But it's all cut by lasers, and then the next step, they punch mounting holes in it. And then it goes through an embosser. So anytime you're doing a custom tacker, we're showing you on your artwork what areas we suggest that you emboss. And if you're not familiar with a tacker, what makes a tacker different than a normal sign is we have certain certain embossed areas that stick out. They're raised, and that's called embossing. So we have embossed plates that we make for every single design that we have. We've created embossing plates that we keep like forever. So if you reorder 3 years from now, we're going to pull up those embossed plates and use them again to create your tackers. So we emboss them, and then they go through like a UV coating that protects them from scratches and sunlight to some degree. And then we shrink wrap them, and then they're good to go. So that kind of wraps up the production process.
So many things have changed. I used to work for a screen printer I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And you said, yeah, it's cheaper if you do it in black and white. And then we had 4 color process, which is like, you know, putting all 4 colors together in order to make one color show up, or you could do it in full color, and it was based on the number of colors that you needed on your design. And you go from that to digitally printing.
Second. It just happens in seconds.
Yeah, that's insane.
So cool. And the only time now, Chris, that we screen print, and I'm looking behind you to see, you know, we don't have any examples of it, but let's say you have a logo that is, we want to put on like a natural aluminum.
Mm.
So we will screen print on that so that the colors stand out. So if you take a natural, and I'm looking behind me to see if I have any to hold up real quick, but that would take a minute. So I'm thinking of Black Lung Brewing Company. They have a really cool black logo on a natural mill finish. And so black can digitally print on a natural aluminum. But if you were doing a lighter color, like a pink, like Industrial Arts Brewing out in New York, they have a pink logo on a natural finish. And we have to screen print a white base so that we can digitally print pink over it. Otherwise, it wouldn't show up. So that is really the only time we're getting deep into screen printing anymore. Otherwise, it's all digital and it's like instantaneous.
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome. Well, Ed, we've touched on this a little bit as far as your the tackers you've made. I mean, you said you've worked with over 2,000 different breweries, or was that 2,000 different types of tackers?
No, well, 2,000, yeah, probably 2,000 breweries.
That's awesome.
And lots of different styles.
So how out of let's say those 2,000, how many of them approached you specifically? And I know I'm not looking for like an exact number, but like, you know, how many of them approached you versus you approaching them?
2,000?
No,
Okay.
really? That's awesome.
So you don't
So the only time I do outreach is if I have customer, like I just did a survey the other day of my brewery tacker. So I have 2 subscription boxes. I have one that you guys get every month, which is the mini tacker of the month. And then I have a brewery tacker of the month. And I did a survey to my brewery tacker of the month members, and I asked them if there was any breweries that they'd like me to reach out to. And I probably got maybe 100 suggestions back, and I did reach out to them. And I always if somebody tells me to reach out to someone, I always reach out to them, but otherwise it's always them coming to me. So I'm lucky that I have like a stream of people reaching out to me, that I don't have to do a lot of outreach myself.
Well, good. Well, speaking of the mini tacker of the month subscription club, which Chris and I both thoroughly love, I've mentioned that I really do like a lot of these mini tackers that we've received, and I've gone onto the website to look and see if I can buy the full-size version. So what is the option? I mean, and I don't see an option for full-size version of these mini tackers. So I guess the question is, how do you come up with like these mini tackers? It's a subscription club, but are these also requested by the breweries to create these little mini ones as well, and you just go and grab, you know, so many for your club, or how's this whole mini tacker to club thing work?
It's the funnest part of what I do.
Okay.
So the mini tackers specifically, we don't make them in a full size for the most part. A couple of them we have made in the full size, like I see behind you, the South County Grim Reaper.
Yeah,
Top right.
the Grim Reaper, yeah.
That was one of their tackers they made in a full size, and then we ended up making the mini tacker for the box. But the rest of them, for the most part, I have approached the breweries about doing a mini tacker with that specific theme for the month. Okay. So for Christmas, I approached Dogfish Head about doing their steampunk treehouse with lights on it, and we did that. For the swing barrel for January, we did, I don't remember if it was you, Denny, or if it was Chris that said that they liked the Keymaster from Ghostbusters. Okay, Chris.
Yeah, Chris loves it.
But I approached them about doing that. So I kind of pick what I want my theme to be, And then I make that in a mini tacker, and usually only is available in a mini tacker and only to subscribers. So it's a very, if you get that mini tacker that month, it's a very exclusive experience. We didn't make a ton of them. We made them for you and for just the other subscribers for the most part. And then the brewery gets 10 just for participating.
Okay.
So they get 10, and then they get to, you know, I pay them money to participate, like a stipend.
Okay.
But other than that, it's a very exclusive club where these aren't available anywhere else. They're only for the members. So, and that's why you won't find them in a bigger size on the website.
Okay, because I really wanted to get the Bigfoot one with, you know, in a full size for my friend Corey, because he.
Okay, so I did 2 Bigfoot ones lately. The Racket River that we talked about earlier, the trucker hat,
the trucker
and the flannel
hat,
shirt.
That's
Is that
the one I wanted to get. Yeah.
And then the Dewey monster behind you is the other Bigfoot
I have.
one.
Yeah, the Dewey.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, so for now, anyway, unless Racket River decides to do it in a bigger size, that was only done as a mini tacker.
Okay. Yeah, the mini tacker is it's a great. I love the fact that I can put a whole bunch on my on my door back there, where I don't have wall space for big ones in here, so the mini ones are perfect. And I do love the small form factor, and like I said, just a couple cases. I wanted to get a bigger one to give away to family or friends that I would think would appreciate it. But I appreciate the exclusivity of it as well. It makes it even more special that that we have these.
Yeah, that reminds me of the first time I ever had the idea for the mini tackers. Was I was in Austin at Austin Beer Works, and they had their full-size tackers, but then they had this little A, and it was so cool. And it was just this little tacker. And I was like, I want to make those, but I want to make like cool ones, and I want to make a whole series of them. And so I was like Googling mini tackers, and the only other brewery that I saw that had them, and we're talking, years ago, probably longer, 6 years ago. The only other brewery that I saw that had like a mini tacker, they didn't call them mini tackers, but was Cigar City. They had the little, I think it was CCBC. Yeah, CCBC. And it was just like a little thing, probably like 6 inches. And I thought, that's cool, but I don't want that. I want something like super cool. And so I started toying with the idea of mini tackers, and I started making them for breweries before having the idea to do the subscription box.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But okay, so you were thinking about doing it for breweries, but how many breweries are actually ordering mini tackers instead of full size?
Nobody. No, I had this idea, and I just started, I contacted a couple breweries just to see if I could make miniature tackers for them, just to see how they went. And it just kind of took off from there. Bristol Brewing in Colorado did a bunch with me, and the idea took off. And now mini tackers, you think of the company Tin Tackers for mini tackers, because we're really the only ones that are really doing those, and doing so many themes with them. So
okay, excellent.
I definitely like them because exactly saying the same reason, Denny, because you can put a lot more in there. Because I'm looking at the one, and you mentioned that one from like Cigar City, Jen. Like I have one from Cigar City there. Geez, this is hard to drive. But there's Cigar City's up there. But then geez, this is really hard to drive backwards. There we go. But then like there's that little tiny one.
Like you've had a few beers, that's all.
Yeah, but there's like the little tiny one from Fox and Hare.
Fox and Hare. That was one of our mini tacker subscriptions.
But then like Deschutes, which is that's probably a 12-inch one, and then Trek, which is another 12-inch one, and then those get even bigger as they're up there, and Revolution's just freaking huge. I mean, it's Yeah, it does. It's like I've had a few beers.
Yeah. The
Um,
serious collectors are running out of wall space, so they really appreciate these little mini tackers.
Yeah, fills in the empty spaces.
I
Okay,
did a
so
blog post last week on this woman in Delaware that it's the coolest collection I've ever seen. I wish I could see it in person, but she took her beach house, 3-story beach house with an elevator in it and turned the elevator shaft and the
Into
elevator cab into her art display of tin tackers.
oh
Wow.
wow.
And so just using her as an example, I mean, she's been collecting for decades. She doesn't have room for any big ones, but she can fill in the gaps with her mini tackers. So
Yeah.
they definitely serve a purpose.
So you mentioned Bristol, and then you mentioned Mini, and you mentioned Mini. This is one of my favorites as well.
Yes.
It's your Christmas ornament, which I thought was a genius idea for the beer aficionados like us that want to decorate a Christmas tree with beer things. Is this something that you might look into doing more of, or is this
I
too...
love that you have that. I have
yeah.
probably made like 10 different ones for different breweries. And I want that to become a thing. I just
I
think
do
it's
too.
the coolest.
Same.
The coolest.
I initially started typing up an email that I wanted to send to a lot of breweries going, hey, do you have a Christmas ornament with your brewery? Because I don't know if I talked to Denny about it or not, but I was like, I would love to decorate a Christmas tree with just brewery
Just with
ornaments.
little mini tin
That's-
tackers.
Yeah,
How cool
yeah.
would that be?
Yeah,
I
we're
was
doing
like, that would be
next
great.
year.
Well, there are only like 10 breweries that have them so far. So it would be a sparse Christmas tree, but I'm hoping to really make, now that I have like 10, to put together like a design and really push those this year because they are so cool. They are so cool. And they're like $3.
Time to start in
Yeah.
August.
Yes.
if you put together an ornament assortment thing, I'll buy it. I'll buy a couple of them for me so I can decorate a tree.
Unfortunately, that's the bad thing about what I do is I don't have permission to sell them from everybody. So all these awesome little ornaments I'm making, they're just like Dogfish Head had a really cool one of that little steampunk tree. And they're the ones selling them, not me, but there's some cool ones out there. So
Well, then I'll still send them all emails, Denny, and we'll go, hey, if you got one, if you'd be willing to donate it to us, that'd be even better.
Yeah. Get our tree going. Okay. We just have a couple more questions. Chris, you want to?
Yeah. So Jen, how many mini tacker of the month subscriptions do you guys ship in a month?
we not very many.
Oh, really?
We have about 140 subscriptions.
That's a lot.
Oh, see, I have my eyes on like 1,000.
1,000?
Because at 1,000, right now I'm just doing it as a labor of love. There's no money in it. I'm losing a little bit of money each month sending them out, but it's such a cool, very exclusive, like some of my very best customers are members. And so I don't dare drop that. I just think it's the coolest thing to offer, to talk about, to have as an exclusive thing that I don't dare drop it. But, when I start to get up to like 500 members, then I can lower the cost to people and it can become a big thing. But yeah, about 140 members right now.
I admittedly, when you guys post those pictures of, all the boxes stacked up and they're like, oh, we're getting ready to ship them out. I'm like, oh, there's mine. Mine's right there. I could see, I know that one's mine. That one's cool. But is there a brewery or a beer that you'd love to do a tacker of?
Wow. Like somebody on my wish list.
Yeah.
Okay. So not necessarily mini tacker, but one that I have my eye on right now is, so there's a small brewery group called Pure Madness, and they own Roadhouse in Wyoming and Melvin Brewing. And I don't know where Melvin is from.
They're in Wyoming.
It's in Wyoming as well.
Oh, Wyoming also. Okay.
Roadhouse bought Melvin.
What's that?
Roadhouse bought Melvin.
bought Melvin. Okay, so now it's owned by Pure Madness, so Pure Madness Group. So that is like the one that I have my eye on is Melvin. It's just such a cool logo. So Melvin, and then we mentioned Flying Dog. I gotta not talk about that, but that is
allegedly
their artwork, their graphic design. You said it was the guy. I don't know the guy, but you said it was a person. I thought it was a team. So like, I am in awe of them. I think that they've always had such cool artwork. So I'm really looking forward to working with them. But it's always like these crazy obscure breweries, and they have the coolest artwork. And so it's kind of like the beer. Like, my favorite IPA is the one I haven't had yet. My favorite tacker design is the one that I haven't seen yet. There's just so many cool designs out there.
That's just forever happiness waiting to happen.
It is,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It is.
That's the one I haven't had yet. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, that was a great insight into tintackers.com. Thank you, Jen, for sharing. As we already said, Chris and I are big fans, and we hope we are able to share our enthusiasm with all of our listeners, and they're become big fans as well. So thank you.
And thank you for inspiring stories that I haven't thought about in a lot of years.
Of course. Okay, now we're going to take a quick break before we close the show out, because my bladder is going to burst. So just give me a minute, okay? And Chris, you can talk while I'm gone. If you guys,
I was gonna do it too, just to make sure.
Just give us a minute. Whew, I was trying to make it to the end, but sometimes you just can't wait.
I was wondering, how do you do this show for 2 hours, drink all this beer, and not take a potty break? So I was great.
Yeah, well, we try not to. Sometimes I mean, we almost made it through the whole thing. Usually, I'm the one that, because I'm the older one here of the two of us, and so Chris can usually wait it out. But lately, he's actually, like last episode, he went twice, and I only went once.
I'm sure he'd appreciate you talking about that right now.
It'll be on the bloopers.
What I miss
about your bladder control.
Solid.
It's solid. Okay. All right. We're just gonna finish this off, Jen. We're at the end of the show, so I know we probably could have just gone through this without taking that little side break, but I wanted to be comfortable while we finished up and give a chance to raise a glass to anyone you'd like to raise a glass to. So, Jen, who would you like to raise a glass to tonight, just to say thank you for your support or whatever you want to do that you appreciate?
Oh, how cool. I'll raise the glass to my guy, Chris. who is now my current supporter of my business.
Oh,
So
good.
cheers to you, Chris.
Cheers to Chris. That's a
Yeah.
good cheers.
Great
One more
name.
question. Yeah, one more question that I should have asked before, but how many employees do you have at Tentacle? Is it just you?
This is the best question. So not including the production department in Ohio that makes the tackers for
Mhm.
me,
Mhm.
because I do not employ them. Laura, one girl, Laura, she is my order filler. And so cheers
No.
to you, Laura,
Cheers
for,
to Laura.
for beautifully packaging everything that we sell here at tintackers.com. But I am the floor sweeper and the salesperson and everything else. So yes, it is myself and Laura at Tin Tackers. That is the culmination of my employees.
Well, you two do a great job. So cheers to Laura for all the fantastic packaging she does, because she does a good job.
It's
All right,
simple
Chris.
and very
Thank
well
you.
put together.
Now, I have a question. Would your listeners and viewers maybe enjoy a giveaway? Is that allowed?
Definitely allowed.
Well, they always they always enjoy giveaways. What were you
I was
thinking?
thinking it would be fun to do, like, so we're into March now. So would it be fun to do January, February, March of the mini tacker subscription, like 3 months?
Oh, wow.
Dang, that's a good one.
I
Yeah,
think that would be a great one.
So how do you want to give this away to them? What do they have to do?
Well, how do you normally just collect however you normally do it?
So
Well,
we
I think that would be
we do a
great.
couple of different things. Sometimes we'll do
Okay.
it where, hey, you know what we haven't done in a while, Denny, is the it's tough to do, is like the ratings on like iTunes and stuff, but there's so many platforms anymore.
There's too many platforms and I
Um,
can't regulate it all.
We have some people, we'll do it sometimes where, hey, if you leave us a voicemail, we'll put you in the running for it. But then sometimes only like, calm down over there. But like only 2 people will write in, and then it's like, or
So
call
maybe
in.
the easiest way for people to enter, what would that be? Dropping their email somehow?
Well, the easiest is, it doesn't matter. I mean,
But all of our Patreon supporters, they get entered automatically.
automatically.
Automatically?
Yeah.
Well, however you guys want to do it. So it would be I gotta hold it up to me so that my screen catches it. The Keymaster.
Mhm.
That would be our January tacker. And then our February
that's-
tacker was that one that you guys mentioned, the double
Double
drop.
drop.
That was so cool.
Wait,
And
you can't hold up the
tell you
next
what our
one.
merch tacker.
Okay.
I'm not telling, because
Okay.
that went out today, or goes out tomorrow, the 5th. And so, yeah, it's a super secret. So
And I love the fact that I get an email from you guys that goes, "Hey, it's shipped," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"It's on its way."
Oh,
So
Yeah.
why don't we do the voicemail one? We already have 2 entries in the voicemail with Eric and
I love
Buck.
it.
And that's what we were going to do with the we'll just make this the 3rd giveaway that you already were going to give. We were planning on doing the voicemail one, so let's just do
Okay.
the voicemail.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll do
Yeah.
that on the
Leave
next.
us
Just be a little extra giveaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
Leave us a
extra fun
voicemail. We
giveaway.
love to hear people's voices on the air, and sometimes we'll get
Come
a
on,
bunch.
guys, call in, leave a voicemail. It only takes a second.
I mean,
It
it's
only takes a second.
208-536-3359.
Yeah, super easy.
If I can
What do you
remember
say?
that number, anybody can remember that number.
All right. Well, thank you, Jen, for that giveaway. Again, we just need our listeners to call the voicemail number, and you have a chance to win. Now, Chris, who would you like to raise a glass to tonight?
Well, I'd love to raise a glass to Jen. Thank you for spending
course.
time with us this evening and for being an absolutely fantastic sponsor for our show. I mean, Denny and I
thank you.
talk about it all the time.
Absolute pleasure to work with you guys.
You and Tin Tackers, you guys go above and beyond for anything we could have ever asked for. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we've had some good sponsors, but you are above and beyond. You're like the best. So we really love everything you've done supporting the show and we appreciate it. So
That just
cheers
means
to you, Jen.
How cool is
we have
that?
we have a higher standard to hold everyone else to in the future. Yeah, well,
right.
Tin Tackers did this, so
They
and
did a spontaneous giveaway right on the.
that's
on
right. Right? Yeah, 208-536-3359. Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to this evening?
Well, of course, I'm raising my glass again to Jen, just because I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. You've been so wonderful, and we just had a great time chatting. And I'm glad that you decided to come on and chat with us, because I've been talking from like a year ago that maybe a year, maybe 8 months ago, I said, Chris, we need to have Jen on the show because I'm intrigued by her company and I wanted to find out more about it. And we finally got you signed on to join us tonight. And I've been nothing but
Thank you for the
happy.
invitation.
You're welcome.
Can't think of a better way to spend my evening and a couple glasses of beer.
That's right. That's right. And of course, I have to raise my glass to our Patreon toast tonight goes to Kevin and Amanda Argauer. We've already mentioned them and their full fridge of beer that they brought back from their trip from Kansas.
Which was also our last giveaway winner.
Oh yeah, they won. Oh yeah, they.
I was just about to text her and go, "Hey, you didn't send us a picture of the tacker that you got sent."
That's right. They did win the last tacker thing. So yeah, cheers to them. And of course, being a former serviceman, I want to raise my glass and thank all those who have served and are currently serving in the U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms. I hope all those deployed are able to return home safely to their families very soon. So cheers to you. Thank you for your service.
Cheers.
And of course, Chris, why don't you go ahead and raise a
no,
glass to our sponsor?
No pressure doing it live.
As she's sitting right here with us.
I'll just make so I'd love to raise a glass to the folks over at Tin Tackers, the provider of sweet metal beer signs that will make your walls happy. Tin Tackers has a vast selection of embossed aluminum beer signs, perfect for your garage, home bar, or man cave. They have the biggest selection with the best prices, and they have a mini Tacker of the Month club, which we're a huge fan of, a club just for craft beer lovers who collect tin tackers. It's a surprise in your mailbox every month. Now go visit their website at tintackers.com and use the promo code TAPTHECRAFT at checkout to save 10% on your entire order and to let them know we sent you.
All right. And you can find the beers mentioned on the show on our show notes. And it is last call. It is time to bring the show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading and listening. We ask you to please tell a friend. And of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.